Adam Schefter updates Browns QB competition after strong showing by Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders made quite a statement in his NFL debut, completing 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns in a preseason win over the Carolina Panthers on Friday. The Browns currently have 6 quarterbacks on their roster and are searching for their starter for the 2025 season. ESPN insider Adam Schefter provided an update on the Browns' quarterback competition Saturday night on SportsCenter. According to Schefter, Shedeur Sanders put himself squarely in the mix with his performance against the Panthers. It's crowded and it's injured, and that's why Shedeur Sanders got the opportunity that he did on Friday night to play as long as he did, Schefter said. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel have been dealing with hamstring injuries, and Shedeur Sanders came out and did exactly what he needed to do. He played 45 snaps and he played well. In addition to Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders, the Browns also have veterans Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, and Tyler Huntley on their roster, although Watson is still recovering from a ruptured Achilles tendon suffered last season. With Pickett, Gabriel, and Watson sidelined and Flacco entering his 18th season in the NFL, the Browns only played Sanders and Huntley at quarterback against the Panthers. Sanders certainly looked the part of an NFL quarterback in his preseason debut, and he should get more opportunities to show what he can do in preseason games against the Eagles and Rams later this month. He wasn't satisfied with the performance, but it was hard not to watch him and feel like he couldn't start at the NFL level. He shined, Schefter said. He'll have the chance to continue that in the preseason. And if he plays at the level that he did Friday night, it's going to be very difficult for the Cleveland Browns to keep him off the field over the course of the season. Shedeur Sanders was the most talked about player ahead of and throughout the NFL draft, as he was projected to be selected in the first round, before slipping to the 5th. NFL analysts, including ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., were baffled by Sanders' fall in the draft. It's obviously still very early on in his NFL career, but Sanders certainly looked capable of playing quarterback at a high level on Friday. Sanders tossed a pair of touchdown passes to receiver Caden Davis in the preseason opener. In addition to his strong passing performance, he also rushed for 19 yards. It wasn't even sunrise in Cleveland when the text alerts began buzzing across NFL insiders' phones. Somewhere in Bristol, Connecticut, Adam Schefter was already halfway through his second cup of coffee, fingers flying across his phone's keyboard with the precision of a concert pianist. A message from one of his most trusted sources in the Browns building had landed. Shedeur just complicated everything. The source didn't need to explain who Shedeur was. Everyone in the NFL knew. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback with a famous last name and a college resume that read like a Netflix sports drama, had just turned the Browns' quarterback competition into something far more chaotic than Kevin Stefanski's offseason plan had anticipated. Schefter stared at his notes from the previous night's preseason game. Cleveland's 24-13 win over the Panthers had been billed as a routine August test run. But for Sanders, it was anything but routine. The rookie had stepped onto the field with the kind of swagger that said he belonged. Chin strap buckled tight, eyes scanning the defense like a veteran, cadence crisp enough to make Myles Garrett glance up from the bench in approval. On his first drive, Sanders delivered a 19-yard strike between 2 defenders on 3rd and 8. On the second, he hit a deep corner route that traveled 42 yards in the air, prompting Browns fans in the lower bowl to rise from their seats. By halftime, his stat line read like something out of a QB coach's fever dream. 13 of 16, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Schefter knew what those numbers meant, not just to Cleveland's brass, but to the other quarterbacks in the room. Joe Flacco, the wily veteran brought in for stability. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the promising backup who'd been groomed for a bigger role. And of course, Deshaun Watson, the franchise's $230 million investment, who had been penciled in as the starter for Week 1. Now, after one preseason game, nothing was penciled in anymore. The insider's call. Schefter's phone pinged again. "The building's buzzing," the text read. "Kev's not committing to anything yet. Wants to see more, but, man, this kid can sling it." He could picture Stefanski in the post-game locker room, trying to keep the temperature down while his players snuck side glances at Sanders. Quarterbacks don't just win over teammates by throwing pretty passes. They do it by commanding the huddle, by showing calm in the chaos, and by making the right call when the play breaks down. Sanders had checked all those boxes, and then some. Schefter tapped out the first lines of his morning update for ESPN's digital team. The Browns' quarterback competition took an intriguing turn Thursday night, as rookie Shedeur Sanders impressed both teammates and coaches with a poised, precise performance in Cleveland's preseason win over Carolina. He paused. He'd been covering the NFL long enough to know the difference between preseason hype and genuine movement. This felt like movement. In the locker room. Meanwhile, in the bowels of Cleveland Browns Stadium, Sanders sat in front of his locker, still wearing his uniform pants, shoulder pads unbuckled. Reporters crowded around, microphones and cameras angling for a clear shot. He spoke slowly, never raising his voice, sprinkling in "yes, sir," and "no, ma'am," with the same smooth cadence his father had used in post-game pressers during his Hall of Fame career. "Just out here doing my job," Sanders said. "I trust the guys around me. Coach called the plays, I executed. Simple as that. Simple. Maybe for him. But for Stefanski, there was nothing simple about the decision looming over the next few weeks." Front office whispers. Back at Berea, the Browns' headquarters, General Manager Andrew Berry had already begun fielding calls. Rival teams wanted to know if the rookie's breakout meant someone else in the QB room might become available. There was speculation, wild, maybe premature, that Sanders' rise could accelerate Cleveland's long-term plan at the position. Schefter's reporting instinct told him not to overplay it. But when the same source texted again with, "You can feel it, players believe in him," he knew the story had legs. Schefter's update hits the airwaves. By 9:02 a.m., ESPN's lower third graphic read, "Adam Schefter. Browns QB competition heating up after Shedeur Sanders' strong debut." Live from the studio, Schefter delivered the update with the tone of someone who had just uncovered a plot twist in a best-selling novel. "Look, the Browns are not naming a starter today. They're not even naming a depth chart change. But Shedeur Sanders came in and did something every rookie quarterback wants to do in their first preseason action. He gave his team something to think about. The arm talent is obvious. The poise is there. And now, the Browns have a legitimate decision on their hands heading into the next few weeks." Social media caught fire. Clips of Sanders' throws racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Hashtags like